protection and longevity are still two of the key attributes that everybody looks at doing. Fundamentally, the piece that never changes is those two things. It's for the longevity and it's all about protection. I think some of those themes and trends from 2024 will carry over into 2025. I think one of the big ones at the moment, though, is a fear of recession. And with that fear of recession comes a fear of the lack of growth. Everybody wants to grow, be it growing it for the future, be it growing it to spend on what's going on now. But if there isn't that growth there, people will always have that fear. And we always see, good, well-governed family offices are the ones who have some form of a plan, some form of a strategy, but are always nimble enough to be able to move to what needs to happen to make sure it works from there. If they're not nimble enough, they'll often just not survive, or they'll just become subpar and sub-relevant.
You've been quoted saying we are living in a great wealth transition with a wider range of family members bringing a wider mix of ideas. What specifically do you mean by that?
This wealth transition thing has been going around for probably coming on 10 years now. And I think the first numbers that came through was that I think it was a 15 trillion number. This is a big number, but it keeps growing. And we don't seem to be anywhere near that transition really happening. It's just that transition of wealth, it's very slow. I'm the son of a carpenter or a joiner, depends on where you are. And I was always taught when I was a child that you measure twice, cut once. And I think that adage runs really well into a lot of the work around this wealth transition that's going on. People are having the discussions, they're thinking about what goes on, and then they're looking to move it from there.
How has the appetite for investing in startups and the emerging giants of tomorrow changed among your private clients post-pandemic?
I think it's gradually come into this. I mean, family offices have always been interested in investing. I think what you've seen more recently is there is a bigger push to invest in technology. So anything that has a technology bent to it, be it agri-tech, be it medtech, be it fintech, will always seem to attract people a little bit more. I think people see this as a way of which they can do. They can often learn bits that will scale across into their business from there. But the whole startup piece has also become more aware of where family offices are. So it has been a two-way piece that the two are almost now meeting in the middle.
Which specific areas are you seeing the most growth opportunities when it comes to investing in startups?
I would say fintech and consumer tech. I would say at the moment has been the two that we're seeing as the biggest. But anything that's helping with the environmental piece as well is often gets a bigger piece of the action than perhaps it would necessarily merit for where the money might be raised. That's part of that wider piece, the legacy for the power of the good of what the money's doing. So I would sometimes say that they're getting a disproportionate share of where it is when in that environmental space.
What advice would you give entrepreneurs seeking investment from family offices?
Understand what that family is wanting to get from the investment. Understand what they can bring as well. This is the point. If you look at how things like Shark Tank and Dragon's Den work, you'll often find that they'll go with the entrepreneur who will bring the most for their business. So don't just go for the money. Go for the money that will bring something different and help you grow faster. It's about what gives you that extra Y factor.
So a lot of people understand the risk of investing. How do you view risk, and how do you speak to your clients about risk?
We think risk is one of the big issues that are facing family offices at the moment, and not that investment risk of not achieving XY return or losing money on ABC investment. It's that real risk of not understanding what's within there or what exposures you are. Many family offices are unstructured vehicles. They're not a corporation, they're not a partnership, they're not an entity. It's often an amalgam of things. And that leads to those family offices not having any formal accounts that are prepared on an annual basis, no audit that's prepared or undertaken. So that introduces a level of risk that you would never see in a normal business environment. And as these family offices continue to grow, it's an area where we feel we can add some real value by coming in and bringing that wider basic business thinking, that business perspective that we bring as professionals to looking at this and looking at the risk in the wider category and seeing how we can just help by just tweaking or just improving a process can often stop that problem emanating or coming down the line.